Hello, my name is Lucas David and this is my painting tip for the week. This week we want to check out how the iPad can help you with the painting process. Now the painting process consists of 3 logical steps. Each time that you go and sit in front of a canvas, you mix a color on your palette and then you put it somewhere on the canvas and then you start working with it. So it would be very nice if you have a tool or an instrument that can help you with this painting process. And in comes the iPad. We are going to check out how the iPad can help you with steps 1 and 2. Getting the right color and putting the right color on the right place. Let's check it out. I want to look at 2 apps on the iPad. Sketchbook Pro, which is free, and Affinity Photo, which will cost you around about $500. Let's first look at Sketchbook Pro. Sketchbook Pro can help me with step 1 of the painting process, and that has to do with getting the right color matching. Now each time that you want to get a specific color, you want to check 3 check boxes. You want to check the hue of that color. That has to do with the name of the color that you're busy with, like for instance a yellowish, orangey or reddish hue, or maybe green, blue, purplish hue. You want to secondly check the tonal value of that color, the lightness or the darkness of that color, and you want to check the intensity of the color, how bright that color is or how pale that color is. Now, if I look at this screen here, you will see to the right side there's like this color dot. It's actually a color picker menu. If I click on that dot, then this menu appears. You see a circle with a block in the middle and then 3 sliders at the bottom. Now the circle with all the colors, that's called the color wheel. You can see currently it is on a specific color, it's zoned in on a specific color. And the block, you would see, if I take that circle, if I move it up, the color gets lighter. If I move it down, the color gets darker. And if I move it towards the right, the color gets brighter. And if I move it towards the left, the color gets pale. So each time that I move the circle, you would see that the 3 sliders here at the bottom also change. So let's look at those 3 sliders. The first slider is called H, the second one is S, and the third one is L. H stands for hue, the name of the color. S stands for saturation, and in painting terms we talk about the intensity of a color, but you can also talk about the saturation. And the bottom one is called luminance. The L stands for luminance, and we speak of the tonal value of the color or the value of a color, whereas in Photoshop terms people talk about the luminance of a color. That has to do with the lightness or the darkness of a color. So now if I check my reference, this is a picture of my daughter Anna that I took a while ago, and I want to nail those skin tones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that circle, select the color picker tool there at the top right of the menu, and then this little thing appears, and I'm going to put it on the color that I want to match. Now it appears on this little circle to the right. If I click on it, I can see that if I look at the bigger circle, it's like a reddish orangey hue. That's the first checkbox that I want to tick. And I can see if I look at the L slider at the bottom, it's not light, it's not dark, it's somewhere in the middle, so we have to do with the middle tone. And if I check out this middle slider, the S, if the S would have been completely to the right, it would have been a very bright red orangey color, but now the slider has moved to the left, so it is not very bright. So if I look at that block, I can see the circle is towards the left side of the block, so it's a little bit paler in comparison, and it is neither to the top or the bottom, so it is a middle tonal value. So now I want to relate that to my palette. if I look at my palette, I have a bright red, cadmium red from Winsor & Newton, yellow ochre, lamb black and titanium white. So first of all, I want to start with the type of color that I'm working with. I want to start with a U, and the U is a orangey red. So I take the bright red, I mix a little bit of the yellow ochre in. So that's the U that I'm working with. Now I want to mix a gray tonal value that is not light nor dark, it's somewhere in the middle, like that or the luminance slider tells me. And in this case we are referring to the tonal value of the color. And then I want to start to add that to my color mixture. I see it's a bit lighter, and maybe the colors a little bit more orangey. So if I mix that color, just want to make it, this one looks a bit dark, a little bit more of that yellow, but like you can see, I'm starting to get the color that I'm seeing on my iPad. If I have too much color, I can add a little bit more of this gray tonal value. Just want to mix a gray tonal value and I can add it to that. And the more of this gray tonal value that I add to the color mixture, the less intense that color becomes. So the more color, the brighter the color, the more gray, the less intense the color. So if I look at that color, I'm actually pretty happy with that color. So let's take a look at the darker colors. So again, I'm going to open this menu again by clicking on that color circle. I'm going to select the color picker tool. I'm going to put it on the darker color, and then I'm going to click on this menu again. And now I see I still have more or less the same type of hue that I'm working with, but this time I see there's a little bit more yellow in that mixture. And I see this time, if I look at the bottom slider, the luminance slider, it's moved much more towards the left, so it's darker in comparison, and it's slightly in the middle. If I look at that block, it's not to the right nor to the left, so I'm just going to add a little bit of black and if I mix that color, yes, that looks very close. Add a little bit more black and red. And so if I look at that color, I'm actually quite happy with it. Now we're going to look at the second app called Affinity Photo. So Affinity Photo, I loaded the same photo. Now you would see a menu here towards the right. There's a little spot there, a color circle. If I click on that color circle, you would see that there's also the hue, the saturation, and the luminance slider. But what this program adds that Sketchbook Pro doesn't have, if you can see to the right side, there's a few options that I can pick, but there's like let me quickly see, a block with 3 circles in it. And I want to select the option posterize. So you would see there's like to the bottom of this window, there's like this small submenu, and there at levels, there's like a 14, so it means it recognizes 14 colors from dark to light. And then if the opacity is 91%, if I lessen the opacity, then I don't see it so bluntly. But the nice thing about this type of effect is it can show you exactly where those colors are placed on your subject. So for instance, I can see if I mix that dark color, I can see exactly where I need to put that color to get my color placement right. So technically, if you put all the colors in the right places, then your picture will look like your reference. So this is also a very handy tool, and I hope this helped. See you next week for the next painting tip.